want, cat? Hmm? Want to say hi? Hmm? Want to say hi? Butthead. Yeah, he's a butthead. But, yeah, we're live at 11:30 on Monday, Labor Day, September the 5th, 2022. And I have a lot of things from this past week that I take exception with. And I have a lot of shit to get off my chest. So strap in, lock, and load, because it's going to be an explosive review. And there's going to be a couple of changes to the review format going forward. This is the fuel. This is what my microphone looks like now. Actually, alright, I'm going to turn the air conditioner off. I don't need it at the moment. But, yeah, for those of you watching, welcome to this edition of The Fuel, where today we're going to be talking about 2022 Cookout Southern 500. And all the shit that happened therein, and a lot of the shit that happened this week that I really take exception with. But notice that it's called opening words because I'm just going to put all the stuff I want to talk about into the review. And quite frankly, I'm done going through all of the particulars of what happened in the race because, quite frankly, it just doesn't work. So I'm going to get into all that in the review. But before we get into everything, let's go through news of the week and get that done over with. Alright, so news of the week. I don't know if you can hear that, but one of my cats is scratching on the door wanting out. She's in heat at the moment, and I don't need any more kitties, I'll just put it to you that way. But we're going to start as we usually do with cat! But we're going to start as we usually do with the ratings from the previous week. Daytona only pulled 1.406 million viewers because it was a rain-delayed race to Sunday morning, and it was also on CNBC. I mean, why wouldn't you put this on the fucking main channel? It's Daytona, for God's sake. But they decided to put it on CNBC, and they only got 1.4 million viewers, which was down 64.2% to last year, which was damn near at 4 million viewers. Fucking stupid, but what else do you expect from these networks nowadays? Anyways, next up, Bubba Wallace is going to drive the number 45 for the rest of the season. Reason being is the 45 is actually in the playoffs as far as the Owners' Championship. So they moved Bubba Wallace to the 45 car because he has more Cup experience than Ty Gibbs does. Even though Ty Gibbs certainly has talent, they could probably get the job done in the car. They decided to move him to the 45, Bubba Wallace to the 45 for the remainder of the season to try to go for the Owners' Championship. So, there you go. Next up, Kyle Busch is still without a ride in 2023 as the playoffs begin. Of course, he almost won the Southern 500. Probably would have if his engine didn't go kerblamo, as the cat wants to get his glamour shot. What do you want? What do you want, butthead? But anyways, Kyle has said that he has some offers on the table. He hasn't said who those offers are from, but we should be hearing something hopefully within the next week. So that's basically been the biggest thing as far as silly season goes, is where is Kyle Busch going? So, cat, quit rubbing your face against the camera. What? Alright, come on. That always makes them run off. Like, I know you want to be petted, but I'm kind of busy at the moment. But anywho, Chris Buescher, or Christopher Buescher, if you want to get technical, he's on baby watch because his wife Emma is actually expecting. He actually put out a tweet on September the 1st, which is 4 days ago, basically showing that his wife is with child. So, congratulations to Chris Buescher. Gonna start a family. So, that's pretty cool. Next up, the damaged vehicle policy clock has been extended to 10 minutes because NASCAR teams have said that they need more time to try to fix parts on the next gen cars. So, NASCAR increased the DVP from 6 minutes to 10 minutes. Still didn't help Chase Elliott because he still ended up falling out. We'll be getting to that here in a minute. But, yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, 10 minutes, I think, is a good number. 6 was just not enough. 10, I'm fine with. Jeremy Clements was penalized after Daytona. So basically what happened was it found an intake manifold violation after post-race inspection, not at the track, because that would have resulted in a DQ. They actually found it in R&D. They took the car into research and development, and they found it during R&D, so that's why he was able to keep the win as opposed to being disqualified. But the Daytona win won't put him in the playoffs, and they also gave his crew chief a $60,000 fine, and the team had been docked 75 driver and owner points and 10 playoff points. However, Clements has, they will appeal the penalty. Jeremy Clements, on August the 31st, this was on his official Twitter, by the way, in response to the penalty NASCAR announced yesterday, we have filed a notice of appeal. During NASCAR's teardown process of our Daytona engine, our intake manifold was found to be too short from the carburetor face to the bottom of the plenum. This deviation restricts power to the motor, eliminating any positive impact to the motor's performance. We are appreciative of NASCAR's thorough inspection process and look forward to the opportunity to have our voice heard. We appreciate the continued support of our fans and partners as we allow the process to play out. So they will be appealing the penalty. So we'll see what happens. They haven't set a date for the appeal yet, but I would imagine they want to do it as soon as possible because the playoffs for the Xfinity Series are not that far away. By the way, the Xfinity race was fucking fantastic, especially that ending when Sheldon Creed tried to go wall riding in the last fucking turn. Trying to do that, do some of them video game strats. I'm sure Kyle Larson, who was behind that, was watching that and was like, he tried to do that same fucking thing that I did last year in the Southern 500. So that was a banger of a finish. Yeah, some people were calling the Cup race one of the best races of the year. Yeah, okay. We'll get to that when we get to it. And then finally, and this is going to be one of the topics that I'm going to be talking about because this is one that's going to make me just fucking go off. Some douchebag was imitating Tanner Gray on iRacing. So, there was a video that made the rounds where someone was basically posing as Truck Series driver Tanner Gray, who was making racially insensitive comments. But, and a lot of people were attributing it to Tanner Gray, and some actually jumped the gun on it. But Tanner Gray released a statement on August the 31st and said, I have been made aware of racially insensitive comments from an account using my likeness during an iRacing practice session that are wrongly attributed to me. I do not have an active membership and last raced in 2018 using an account under my mother's name. The profile of the account in question shows it was launched on July the 27th, 2022 by an individual in Georgia. They have run nearly 200 races in the last month, including activity conflicting with my Truck Series schedule beginning with Lucas Oil Raceway Park. I denounced the behavior shown in this video, and I'm actively working with iRacing to get this user flagged and removed from the service. And Steve Myers, who I guess is one of the head honchos at iRacing, said that I can confirm that we have verified this account was not Tanner and that we know who it is. They will no longer be members of iRacing. So, that's good. That's a good thing we weren't going to have yet another, Kyle Larson situation. Because we saw how that all played out. But that's it for news of the week. But that basically leads into the shit that I want to talk about and that I want to just absolutely go off on. So, notice I made a change. It's now race review. I'm not doing the whole stages thing because, quite frankly, I've been looking at this show's views over the past couple of years, and I'm going to be completely honest here. I mean, this is probably my longest running weekly show on my channel, and it probably has the lowest viewage of any of my shows because it's motorsports related. But I continue to do it because I love to do it. It's something that I love to do, which is why this show has so many different episodes. But I've come to realize that the format that I'm currently doing just isn't working. Going through race by race and going through all the notes and particulars that I have for this race and for others, it just isn't working. Nobody wants to sit through, a 2.5 hour live stream of me just talking, about the particular points of a race. Typically when you want to watch a review, you want to get someone's take on things and, all that other shit. So that's one of the things that I wanted to change up, particularly for this show. So that's why I'm changing things up. But I'm also combining the rant portion with the race review itself because it all kind of ties together. Because you notice the name of the episode of this show, of this episode, Low Morale. I've just not been very enthusiastic about NASCAR this week because of some of the dumb shit that I've seen from NASCAR and from the fan base. Because going back to the whole Tanner Gray situation, there were some YouTubers that kind of jumped the gun thinking that it was Tanner Gray, like Black Flags Matter and Daniel Crete. But, you know, they apologized for jumping the gun. It's like, yeah, I shouldn't have jumped the gun. You know, I should have waited for all the facts to come out. What do you want, orange one? Orange one. Go. Apparently orange one doesn't care. But one thing I had noticed is the fact that, despite the fact that, you know, those two that I was talking about apologized for jumping the gun. Cat, come on. Quick. Here. Go flat. But you know, about Black Flags Matter and Daniel Crete. Do they deserve some criticism for jumping the gun on the whole Tanner Gray situation? Absolutely. You know, they should have waited till all the facts came out and before reaching a conclusion. So they did jump the gun, and so they deserve some criticism for it. But this NASCAR fan base just overdoes it. Like, instead of, I mean, some of the responses that I've seen to both of them are just fucking disgusting. Like, it goes from, you know, what should be constructive criticism, and these motherfuckers completely overdo it, and it borderlines on cyberbullying. Like, this fan base is full of nothing but a bunch of fucking scumfucks. Like, I look at some of the reactions, you know, the responses, you know, to Black Flags Matter and Daniel Crete and those guys, and it's like, you people are just fucking cocksuckers, you know, if I want to be real about it. Because, I mean, you're taking a situation like this. I mean, do they deserve criticism? Sure, but you motherfuckers are taking it way over the cliff. Like, come on, cat. Lay down. Like, you motherfuckers are blowing, I mean, you motherfuckers blew this situation way out of proportion. Okay, the responses that I've seen do not warrant, I mean, what Black Flags Matter and Daniel Crete did, jumping the gun, I mean, was it stupid? Yeah, but, I mean, is it really that big of a fucking deal? I mean, really? That you want to respond to them, calling them pieces of shit, you know, and all this other stuff. I mean, get fucked. Seriously. All you motherfuckers that were posting those, you know, disgusting responses to them, go fuck yourself. Seriously. You're all nothing but a bunch of fucking keyboard warriors, you know, jacking off. Fuck yourself! Like, holy fucking shit! This is about the most toxic fucking fan base I've ever seen in my fucking life! I am done defending this fucking fan base, even if they're in the right, because this fan base doesn't deserve shit! This fan base deserves nothing! Some of the biggest fucking cocksuckers on the face of this planet. Bunch of scumfucks. I'm done! I'm done with the fucking bullshit! And I'm also done with the fucking bullshit from NASCAR too. Especially considering the safety of these next-gen cars, or the lack thereof. Like, there are some drivers, I mean, did you not hear the fucking audio from Denny Hamlin's radio after he crashed at Daytona? Did you not hear how much pain he was in? And then NASCAR was like, well, these hits are harder because the cars are faster, they're hitting at odd angles. Like, what the fuck? These cars have lower top-end speed than they have in the past. These cars do not absorb hits as well as the previous cars. And that's transferring back onto the drivers. And then you have a situation like we saw last night with Kevin Harvick, his car catching on fire because something in the front of his car caught fire, and then it just completely went up in flames. And Kevin Harvick absolutely went fucking off. He said, you know, hold on, let me see if I can find this real quick. Here's the quote. Here's the quote. We just keep letting cars burn up, letting people crash into stuff, get hurt, and we don't fix anything. Now we're just riding around and cars catch on fire, just shitty parts. They don't care. It's cheaper to not fix it. Find someone to run the show who can run it. Abso-fucking-lutely. And y'all know that I'm not a fan of Kevin Harvick whatsoever, but I absolutely, wholeheartedly agree with what he said. This is fucking bullshit. I mean, Kurt Busch, might be out for the rest of the season because of a concussion from simply backing into the wall of Pocono. Like, what in the actual fuck? And then if that wasn't enough, you have people that were calling this race the Southern 500 one of the best races of the fucking year. People saying, oh, this was a great race, and yet Eric Estep giving it an 85 on his Groovy gauge. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just thinking to myself, we must be watching completely different fucking races. Because let's be honest here. This race was not as good as a lot of you think. Okay? Stages 1 and 2 were boring as fuck. Literally nothing happened in the first two stages. And some people might say, well, you didn't really watch the whole race, or some stupid shit like that. Bitch, I watched all 367 laps of this race. It was a complete bore fest except for the restarts and the last 20 laps. Get the fuck off your high horse. I mean, we had a caution for rain on lap 6, even though it was a light shower, so good fucking start there. Then we had a competition caution on lap 36, which is to be expected. And then you had Chase Elliott crashing at the end of stage 1 all by himself, which broke the toe link and the lower control arm completely off. I mean, it basically broke in half from how hard he fucking hit. And that was all on his own accord, which was shocking. But literally, I mean, other than some passes in the back, I mean, it was difficult to pass in this race, which is to be expected because it's Darlington. But I mean, the leader you just couldn't challenge the leader. I mean, jumping ahead a little bit, there was only 3 pure lead changes in this entire race, and 2 of them was Kyle Busch giving up the lead to Martin Truex because Truex was just that much faster. I mean, I'm just looking back to my notes and I'm just thinking to myself, what the fuck was so interesting about this race? Like, stages 1 and 2 were a fucking bore fest. But as per the usual, these fucking fans and these fucking NASCAR pundits, they just want to say, well, it was a great race because, you know, look at all the playoff implications and Erik Jones, you know, getting the upset win. Which, here's the thing, okay? I'm glad Erik Jones won last night. I said during that race, I want to see an upset. I want to see Erik Jones win this race. Because contrary to popular belief, I like Erik Jones. I mean, I've criticized him in the past for not getting the job done in high-tier equipment, but that doesn't change the fact that I like the guy. I think he's a cool dude. He's a chill dude. You know? And he's been doing a pretty damn good job for the equipment that he's in. It's not top-tier equipment, but he's been doing a pretty decent job this year. And then he gets his second Southern 500 win. I mean, if anything, that kind of gives him the trait of showing up in the big moments. Like, he only has, this is just his third career win, and 2 of them are Southern 500 wins. In fact, the last one he had before this one was 3 years ago in this race when he was driving for Joe Gibbs. So, I'm not denying that Erik Jones, I mean, he's got talent to drive. Sometimes the chemistry of a team or a crew chief just doesn't work out. But Erik Jones and that 43 team have shown a lot of improvement this year over last year. I mean, I think this was their 9th top 10 finish overall, and they had, no, this was their 10th, I believe. I think they have 10 top 10s overall this year, and they had 6 last year, and we still got 9 races to go. So that 43 team has shown massive improvement this year over last year. And not to mention the fact that we have 17 different winners in 2022, which is insanity. Which is tied for the most at this point in the season with 1961. There's still a lot of guys, you know, a lot of good drivers like Truex and Ryan Blaney who haven't won yet. That could extend that out to 19 different drivers that win. Like, the parity of this season has been incredible. It's just, in a lot of cases, the racing overall has just been kind of, I mean, it hasn't been garbage a lot of times, but it hasn't been exactly mind-blowing either. Now, was this the worst Southern 500 ever? No. Cat. Wait. Come on. Okay. No, because did y'all see that 2020 edition of the Southern 500? That was garbage. Now this race was nowhere close to that. But let's be completely honest here, people. People are overrating this race to hell and back because of Erik Jones scoring the upset victory, the last 20 laps being, you know, dramatic, and all of the problems that befell the playoff field. The playoff implications. But when you strip all that away, you take all that shit out, Erik Jones, you know, scoring the upset, and you take all the playoff implications out of the equation, what are you left with? A boring ass, bog standard Southern 500. Like, what about this race was so fucking great? That's what I want to know. Because stages 1 and 2 were a fucking nothing burger. Like, literally nothing fucking happened in stages 1 and 2. Now, stage 3 was when things somewhat started to pick up. I mean, shit. Of course, that was also when we had fucking Harvick's car go up in flames, which I've already talked about. And then, of course, you have Cody Ware being, you know, being Cody Ware. I mean, Cody Ware, Like, what in the actual fuck? I mean, last week at Daytona, he did such a great job. Kept his car clean, came home in 6th. And then this week, he slams the wall, turn 2 wall not once but twice and brings the final caution out with about 27 laps to go. You know, basically fucking up, you know, what would have been an interesting little finish. You know, it is what it is. And then, yeah, Truex having mechanical issues, had the fucking serpentine belt come off his car while he's leading by 5 seconds. And then Kyle Busch blows up under caution while leading. Like, you want to talk about breaking out the whole entire fucking Rolodex of things that can go wrong for a team? Like, a lot of people were saying that, you know, Hendrick Motorsports was not having a good time of it. I mean, with from Chase Elliott's, as far as Chase Elliott's concerned, yeah, because, you know, he went from being like plus 40 to now just plus 14. Then you had Kyle Larson, who had some kind of weird glitch happen to his car, and he actually went like 4 laps down. He actually managed to get back on the lead lap and finish 12th. Now that's a fucking gutsy performance. Like, hats off to Kyle Larson and that 5 team for not giving up. And they ended up with a lead lap finish and finishing 12th. After all the problems that they had in this race. But then you had Joe Gibbs Racing looking like they're on the way to maybe a 1-2-3 finish. And then Truex loses the serpentine belt. So it knocks out his power steering. The car got hot because the water pump wasn't working. And then you have Kyle Busch blowing up under caution. I mean, it's like, you know, fate just busted out the entire Rolodex of ways to fuck a team over. Like, holy shit. And that basically gave Erik Jones the lead. Hamlin managed to get up to 2nd and tried to challenge him, but thankfully Jones held him at bay because I did not want to see Hamlin win the Southern 500 again. I wanted to see an upset, and thankfully we fucking got it. But let's be honest here, people. This race was not as good as a lot of people are saying it is. I mean, this was a box standard Southern 500. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but come the fuck on, people. This was, some people were actually saying that this was the best race of the year. Are you fucking serious? Like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, you're honestly going to try to say this was the best race of the year after seeing the Xfinity race yesterday. You're going to say that the Cup race on Sunday was better than the Xfinity race? Whatever. I'm done with the fucking fan base anyways. They don't deserve shit. So, it's whatever. But with that out of the way, let's get to the race, the stats and awards for this race. So it was 367 lap race, stages for 115, 115, and 137. There were 21 overall lane changes. You know, it seems like a lot, but a lot of those were during green flag pit stops. There were only 3 pure lead changes the entire race. I'm sure some people point out, well, what about the pass that Kyle Busch made on Brad Keselowski for the lead? Keselowski hadn't made his pit stop yet, and he was on really old tires, whereas Kyle Busch was on super fresh tires. I mean, it's no contest. I don't consider that a pure lead change. And if you don't like that, you can kiss my ass. My fucking show, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. We had 7 total cautions during the race. No, it was 8 actually, so let me fix that. So it was actually 8 cautions during the day. We had 2,531 green flag passes, which only came out to an 8.2 average per green flag lap. So, meh. For a 500-mile race, it was meh. Lap leader award goes to Kyle Busch. He laid 155 laps and had one of the dominant cars of the day, but doesn't get the win because of fucking mechanical problems. Star of the race goes to Kyle Larson for reasons I said before. Had some kind of weird mechanical glitch, went multiple laps down. I think at least 4 laps down, but came back to finish 12th. I mean, that was a gutsy performance by Kyle Larson and crew. Reject of the race, Cody Ware. Slammed the turn 2 wall not once but twice, and potentially affected, the finish of the race because it looked like it was going green all the way to the end. And then he slammed the wall and came to a stop on track. Like, Cody Ware's fucking trash. I mean, I sang his praises last week, but that was last week. He went back to being his old self. Cat, quit. Quit rubbing your face against the camera. But he basically went back to being his old self this week. Am I surprised? No. Alright, so I don't know if you can notice or not, but there's a muscle underneath my left eye that's twitching. Like, it's weird. But race results and point standings. So here are the race results. Top 10 finishers. Erik Jones led the final 23 laps and held off Denny Hamlin. Tyler Reddick came home in 3rd. Joey Logano in 4th. He led the first 64 laps. He had Christopher Bell with a quiet top 5. Mike McDowell with yet another top 10 run, so good for him. Brad Keselowski, it's been a nothing year for him in his first year as a driver owner. Comes home with a 7th place finish. William Byron, his first top 10 in quite a while. Stat that came up was he only, between this race and his Martinsville win, he only had 1 top 10 finish in 18 races. I mean, he went ice fucking cold. But finally got a top 10 finish and even led 50 laps earlier in the race. Bubba Wallace, his first race in the 45 car, comes home in 9th, and Alex Bowman sneaks in for a top 10 finish. So here's how the playoff points look with 2 races to go in the round of 16. Joey Logano is now the point leader, as it were. Yay. Last thing I want to see is that fucking douchebag win another championship. But William Byron is now P2. And you have Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson. Gained a shit ton of points from where he was on the track, so he went from being way below to way up. Ross Chastain didn't have a very good night, but he's still plus 15. Chase Elliott, of course, finished dead last after wrecking. But his regular season title helps him out here. He's plus 14. Alex Bowman at plus 10. Kyle Busch at plus 8. And Daniel Suarez at plus 2. So the bottom 4 right now is Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and Kevin Harvick. So, a couple of those guys, it's to be expected. Will they stay there? Well, we'll have to wait and see, because Kansas is next week. So, I'll have to wait and see how that works out. NASCAR standings with F1 points. Trucks were off again this week. But here are the Xfinity standings, and holy shit. Look how close these points are if they were using F1 points. AJ Allmendinger and Ty Gibbs are tied for the point lead. Noah Gragson is 3rd, but only 1 point behind, and that's even when you calculate his points penalty into the equation, which is amazing. Justin Allgaier, in 4th place, only 8 points back. Like, the top 4 are they've just been insane this year. AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, and Justin Allgaier. I mean, they own the lion's share of the races this year. Like, how many race wins do all 4 of those guys have this year? Like, they've basically become the Elite 4. AJ Allmendinger, Ty Gibbs, Justin Allgaier, and Noah Gragson. Well, AJ Allmendinger has 3 wins. Ty Gibbs has 5 wins. Justin Allgaier has 3 wins, and Noah Gragson has 4 wins. 8, 11, 15. Those 4 guys have won 15 of the 24 races this year. Which have Josh Berry has 2 wins, Austin Hill has 2 wins, Brandon Jones with a win. So, but the top 4, they're basically the big 4, as it were, and they're just 8 points apart. This late in the season, it's insanity. how crazy competitive the Xfinity Series points battle is. And then you look at the Cup side of things, and of course the drivers in yellow are the playoff drivers, as it were. But Chase Elliott, despite not scoring a single point, still holds a 60-point lead because Chastain just didn't take advantage. Only scored 5 points in F1 standings. So Logano moves up to third because he gained some decent points. So Kyle Larson drops to fourth. Kyle Busch gains some points, moves up to fifth. Then you have Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and Martin Truex Jr., the first non-playoff guy, in 10th. He was actually fourth in points. They actually showed a graphic as to showing, you know, how could Martin Truex Jr. miss the playoffs? Well, the winning you're in format is fucking stupid. So there you go. Then you have William Byron, the last driver over 200 points, and you have Kevin Harvick, Daniel Suarez, Kurt Busch, who's probably out for the rest of the year, Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, and Erik Jones. Those are the drivers over 100 points. So we have 19 drivers over 100 points. And then Austin Dillon bringing up the rear of the top 20 in 20th place with 97 points. As for my final rating for the Cookout Southern 500, I mean, a lot of people were saying this was the best race of the year, and Eric Estep basically gave it an 8.5 out of 10 on his Groovy gauge, which, I mean, everybody was pretty much overrating this race to shit. Like, they do what they always do. They just completely leave out stages 1 and 2, and they just focus on what happened in stage 3. You know, especially when you have an upset winner and more playoff implications. You know, instead of, you know, rubbing two fucking brain cells together and actually, you know, using your brain to critically think and actually analyze the race in its entirety and for what it is. I mean, this race was, I mean, when you look at it on the surface, I mean, yeah, you might say, well, playoff implications, but when you look at the on-track product, let's be honest here, stages 1 and 2 were boring as fuck. Like, it was difficult for me to stay awake during the first 2 stages of this race. I don't know, maybe I'm the only motherfucker that actually pays attention to that shit. But, you know, whatever. But, this race gets a 4 on the field gauge. I mean, it's not total trash, but this race wasn't that good, people. It really wasn't. And, you know, some people, you know, might get mad at me for that, but that's my response. I don't give a fuck anymore. I mean, some of the shit that I've seen from NASCAR and the fan base this week, I mean, at the moment, I couldn't care less about NASCAR. I really couldn't. My morale for them at the moment is at the lowest it's been this season. I'm honestly ready for this season to be over. Like, I'm just... Like, none of the races this year have been races that have blown your mind. I'm hoping Bristol in a couple weeks changes that. Because I want at least one race this year where I'm actually fucking excited to talk about. And I so desperately want it to be Bristol. Because it usually delivers in that aspect. But we'll see. Next race is at Kansas. What the fucking do? It's a track that I don't think should have 2 dates because, I mean, it's fucking cookie cutter bullshit. I'm just not a fan of Kansas. I mean, there's nothing unique or interesting about Kansas Speedway. I mean, it's just the same old shit. So, but that's it for this edition of the Fuel, changing things up for the playoff. I'm probably going to change the format for next year. Make it probably not going to do live reviews anymore in 2023. I'll try something different for the Fuel next year. It'll still be in a review format, but it'll be quite a bit different. With some more comedic elements, with some more editing to it than you would say with a live review. I mean, live reviews have done wonders because, I mean, I can do it on the fly, but I mean, this format just isn't working. I've done the same format on this show for almost 4 years now, and it's pretty clear to me that it just isn't working out. It isn't working, so I need to change something. So, but I'll do that starting in 2023. I don't want to completely change up the formula mid-season. I did change a few things here and there, but you know, they're just minor compared to what I plan to do with this show in 2023. I'll still do live shows, but it'll be mainly, you know, on News of the Week, although I'll probably rename it from News of the Week to like Topping It Off or some shit like that. Some kind of fuel reference. I don't know. But we'll see. But that's going to do it for this edition of The Fuel. I'm sorry that my enthusiasm is not that good right now, but I mean, blame NASCAR and this toxic fucking fan base. I mean, so I don't have any love for them at the moment. But hopefully things will improve next week. But thank you very much for watching this edition of The Fuel. And until next time, this is the Packer Man signing out. See you later. Thank you for watching tonight's video. Be sure to like and subscribe, you jackweeds.